Hello again and welcome to part 3 of my bass reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at my P-Bass. Wait a minute, I did a P-Bass last time, but this is a different P-Bass. I actually have two P-Basses. The last one was my Warmoth Precision bass that I built. This one is all Fender. Let's take a look. So what we have here is a good old-fashioned, well actually not old-fashioned, it's brand new. It's a 2022 model Fender American Professional 2 Precision bass. And it is 100% bone stock. There is nothing changed on it other than adding the strap buttons for my Shaler strap locks. Everything is stock. I did put a set of my preferred string joist strings on there. They're locally made here in Nashville, and I have fallen in love with those strings. I really like them, and I've tried a bunch. If you haven't checked out String Joy Strings, I don't get them for free. I pay for them. Just passing along the information. They're really, really good. But as with all of my basses, there's a story behind it. So I was looking for a P-Bass. Obviously, my Warmoth P-Bass that we reviewed in the last episode is set up for more old school, Motown kind of thump. This one is a rock and roll P-Bass. I have it set up where it's very bright, very mid-rangey. I can get that clank out of it, when I dig in. So it is a different sounding beast altogether, and we're going to hear that in a little bit. But this particular bass, I actually had a little bit of a story. So let's move over to the other camera where we're going to listen to some sounds, and I'll tell you the story. All right, so now I'm back in the seated position, ready to run through a few sound samples on the bass. But first of all, I have to tell the story of this particular precision bass. So I had been looking for just really a Fender American Standard bass, one of the ones that was a little bit older, maybe like 2008, 9, 10, which were great basses. I had a 5-string version of that bass years ago, and I foolishly sold it, and I wish that I had it back. I love 5 strings. I started out playing on a 5-string, so I'm super comfortable playing a 5-string. I have huge hands. I mean, this is a P-bass neck, not a jazz bass neck, and I can easily just crush it with my hands. So I love big, wide, fat, ginormous necks. So 5-string basses have always been more comfortable for me. But there's an old adage, and I heard it years ago. You can do everything on a 5-string that you can do on a 4-string plus more. And that's true to an extent, but 4 strings do sound different, and they do play different because you have less strings to mute. But I don't know if it's there's fewer magnets pulling on the strings or whatever. I don't profess to know the difference, but in a probably several reviews later, maybe 2 or 3, we're going to be talking about this bass, which is an Alien Audio bass made here locally in Nashville by a guy named Chopper Anderson. And it's P-bass. It's a double P-bass, but you can solo the neck pickups, and it should, by all intents and purposes, be a P-bass. And it does not sound like this bass. It sounds kind of like it, but it doesn't sound the same. And I don't profess to know the reason why that is. And I had a 5-string P-bass, and it doesn't sound the same as this 4-string. It's got all that growl to it. I mean, it's just a really great, that's a classic tone. So anyway, back to the story about this bass. So I had been scouring talk bass and reverb, looking for somebody that had an American Standard bass for cheap. And I wasn't having any luck finding anything. Everything I found, they wanted way too much money for it, especially given the condition that some of those basses were in, beat up, dinged, scratched. I take exceptional care of my basses. I don't like them to have any dings or scratches. I know the relic look is the in thing, and a lot of people like that beat up look. I like mine looking like they just came off the assembly line, and this one kind of did. back in September of last year. And I'll tell you why I know that. So I find a used bass on Reverb up in Bloomington, Indiana, and it was an American Professional 2 brand new, well, used P-Bass for a really good price. And I already had an American Professional 2 instrument, which is that jazz bass back there. We'll be talking about that next, probably in 2 reviews from now. But so I was familiar with them, and they're great quality, and the necks feel fantastic. And it's just, they're just, I know people a lot of times like to poo-poo Fender instruments, and deservedly so. Some of they have made some crap. These basses are not. These basses are exactly what they claim to be. They are a professional level bass. You can go out and build your career on one of these basses if you want to be a touring musician. They're that good. They're comfortable to play. A lot of people say, oh, they don't like these V-Mod 2 pickups. I think they sound great. That's a subjective thing. You be the judge. But anyway, this place had a cheap Fender American Professional 2 Precision, just like this one. So I bought it, and the guy contacts me and says, hey, here's your shipping number, here's your tracking number. I don't see the bass move. About a week goes by, I don't see the bass move. So I reach out to the guy and I said, hey, can I get an update on the shipment of the bass? And he says, oh, I'm so very sorry. When the shipping department went to go get your bass, it had already been sold. However, we will give you a new one at the same price as the used one, and we'll throw in a t-shirt and a set of strings. What size shirt do you wear? What strings do you prefer? Only caveat is we have to order it from Fender. So they ordered this bass, well, not this bass, from Fender. And I got a tracking number from Fender to Bloomington, Indiana, to the music store. And that bass never moved. And a week goes by, and the bass never moved. So I'm starting to think at this point I've been ripped off, because I've already paid the guy. And I call FedEx, and I said, hey, I'm trying to track this package. Well, who are you, the sender or receiver? Well, I lied. I'm the receiver. Who's it coming from? Fender Musical Instrument Company. Okay, yeah, we have it. Well, can you give me an update on that package? Well, it appears to be lost. So I contact the music store, tell them I called FedEx, that the bass was lost. So he says, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Let me contact Fender. He contacts Fender, gets back to me, very responsive, and says they've already sent out another one. That package was lost. The other one is in transit, and it will be here in like 3 or 4 days. Of course, it's coming up on Christmas, so shipping is nuts. And lo and behold, he does get it in his store, and he says, hey, I got the bass in, and I'm shipping it your way today, and it'll be there on the Friday before Christmas. So Christmas Eve of 22. Friday comes, guess what? Package is delayed. Doesn't get here. Christmas Eve comes, Saturday. I get a ship notification from UPS that they're delivering a package. And it's this bass. And we are in the middle of the coldest winter cold snap that we've had in over 20 years, and it's -6 degrees, and there are rolling blackouts, and the roads are covered in ice. So I get a delivery notification that says the package has been delivered, and there's no package at my house. I looked all around. I went outside, froze my keister off. I couldn't find it. I walked up and down the street. Maybe they delivered it to the wrong house. Couldn't find it. Was about to get in the car and go chasing the UPS truck. I called UPS, and they said, well, unfortunately, you signed a waiver that you don't want to sign for the package, so we're no longer responsible for it. I'll not do that again, had I known that. But anyway, about this time, a white van pulls up, unmarked. It looks like a child molester van or something. And guy gets out, and I says, do you, by any chance, have about a 4-foot long box for me? And he goes, I do, yeah. And I said, well, great. It said it was delivered, but I didn't get it. And he goes, oh, that's because the regular UPS truck isn't four-wheel drive and it can't get down your road. So we had to rent vans that have four-wheel drive so that we can deliver the packages in the residential areas. And sorry, but he had to mark it delivered in order to give it to me. I'm a contractor. And I'm like, oh, great. So I finally got this bass. I haven't had it very long. I got a chance to play it out for the first time a couple of days ago, and it is fantastic. So let's hear a few sound samples of just a good old-fashioned, unmodified Fender Precision American Professional 2. So again, as in the other videos, I'm going to disable these my microphone so you don't hear the room. All right, now I got my mic hooked back up. That is, of course, using the amp simulation, the SVT, through my line 6. So now we are going to patch it over to just going direct to the mixer. So now you should be able to hear that signal. I'm going to go ahead and bypass everything down here. All right, so we are all bypassed down there. And let me disable my mic and we'll hear just the raw bass. And there it is. That is just the plain bass signal going into the mixer. So this is just a fantastic bass. And when I first started playing bass, I was not a fan of precision basses. They just, to me, didn't sound very good. But that's because I was listening to that bass on its own. And if you listen to a P bass like we just played it on its own, sorry, I'm putting everything back. They don't sound that good, but in a mix, they're glorious. There are times when a P bass is the answer, so it's always a good tool to have in your toolbox. Well, that's it for this particular bass review. Hope you guys enjoy it and keep on watching the next ones. We've got some more great basses, as you can see, hanging on the wall back here. Some of them, I promise you, you've never seen before, or probably never seen, and one of them for sure is the only one like it in the world. So we'll get to those. Thanks for watching.